Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
How you feeling today? Well? We hope your answer is well, but if that's not the case, we can help. We are New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez, thrilled to be sitting in the studio with Dr. Jim Burns, the founder of Homeward, and licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris. And Jacqui, why don't you start us off with some words of wisdom? Because you are always so good at that, isn't she, Jim?
She is so good at it.
Yes.
I got my notes. I'm ready. I'm taking notes.
Well, today I want to talk about truth-telling.
Okay.
There's been a few times over the past few weeks in which I've worked with someone or had a conversation with someone who was trying to get the truth out of someone else. And without that truth, they really feel stuck and like they can't move forward. And so this is for the truth teller, the one who, in our family we say make good choices because choices have consequences and repercussions. So sometimes we make choices that then have a trickle-down effect that we are not pleased with, but we still want to be honest. And so if you have something, some experience or some choice that you've made that may negatively impact your family or coworkers or what have you, and you want to give them the truth, here's a couple of things that I think you should probably do. First, you really need to be clear. Sometimes we tell big, long stories and try to minimize the pain, but be clear, be direct, be honest. Make sure that it's safe, so invite the person to a conversation. In making sure that you've set your intentions with them about what it is you're going to do so that the expectation is clear. Be mindful of their feelings. We want honesty, but not brutality. So temper your truthfulness with kindness. And get it all out. That's tough sometimes, so you want to practice it, rehearse it ahead of time. Go into the meeting prepared, know what it is you want to say, understand your own motivations for this conversation. What are you trying to accomplish? And also understand your own emotions, because you'll need to continually regulate your emotions while this is happening,
So good. Somebody once said to me, to be clear is to be kind.
Yes. Brene Brown says that.
Huh?
Brene Brown says that.
Oh, it's a Brene Brown. Okay.
Clear is kind.
I'll start quoting her then.
It's in Dare to Lead.
Yeah. It's such a great phrase. And, Jesus also showed us lead with love. So I think when we get love messed up, because if we lead with love and bring clarity and bring honesty, that's actually the right way to do that. You can lead with love and still be honest.
And sometimes we're embarrassed, we're fearful, we don't know what's going to happen, we know it's going to hurt them. And so we don't want to tell the truth, and so we tell partial truths, or we try to fix the situation and we just end up making it worse. Me and my kids, we've said this over and over again. They've heard it their whole lives, and so now they say it as adults. Why lie when the truth will do? We can't do anything with the lie. The truth is what's going to work. The truth is what's going to give us something to move forward with. And so if there's been infidelity, if there's been financial abuse, if there's been a job loss, whatever it is, don't let it fester, because it's in the dark. Those secrets become other things. They grow into other little monsters. It changes our personality. It changes how we show up, because we're fearful of what could happen if this person finds out the truth. Tell them, and that way you can kind of navigate that environment of truth-telling your way.
The trouble with lies is when you tell them, you still got to sell them with a look in your eyes. That's what I heard on a song years ago, and it's so true. The truth will set you free. We're all about truth-telling and how to do it in a kind way. So you can always reach out to us here at New Life Live. We can do that for you. Go to newlife.com, that's our website, or call us when we are here in the studio taking calls. Speaking of calls, we've got some coming up in just a little bit here on New Life Live.
So many times we get calls about loss and grief, and it's one of life's most profound challenges. It affects our mind, our body, and our spirit in deep and lasting ways. Grief is something that we will all experience, but we experience it differently. I want to invite you to our upcoming webinar, Coping with Loss, a grief webinar. Our webinar is 90 minutes. We are going to have Laura Mange-McDonald present, and whether you're grieving the death of a loved one or walking through another kind of loss, this session offers biblical insight, emotional support, and practical tools to help you move forward.
The Coping with Loss Grief webinar is Thursday evening, November 13th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com. Discover God's plan for healing and take the next step towards peace, hope, and wholeness. 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
If you have Sirius XM in your car or in your house, you can listen to New Life Live. We are on at 1 p.m. Eastern Time every day. And that is how Rochelle is listening to us in Philadelphia, PA, on Sirius XM Channel 131. Hello, Rochelle. Welcome to New Life Live.
Hey. Yes, hi. Thank you for answering. Great show. I mean, I was listening and all the topics. I got lost in the topics and the references. It's great. But here's what happened. So I am a sub, and I was teaching 8th graders. So in the class, there was a Muslim child and a Christian child. The Muslim kid was offended because the Christian kid called him a name. Although I corrected the Christian kid because we are to speak out of love, and we represent God, and you don't do that, right? So the Muslim kid here's the challenge. He pointed out to me that Jesus is a prophet. And now I know why the Christian kid called him a name, because he said he's not God. He said Jesus is not God. And he quoted, and he pulled up the reference in front of me. I think it was Luke 4 or 14. I'm not sure which one, but it was referencing Jesus and being, a prophet, not being a prophet, but prophet. And I read it 2 or 3 times, and I'm not understanding Luke, although I still, I know Jesus is my Savior and He is God. I wanted some clarity from you, and I explained to the Muslim kid what Christians believe in, and we believe in Jesus as our God, and I understand he doesn't, and he sees Muhammad as his prophet, as the last prophet, and Jesus is not. But anyways, I just wanted to know if you could clear up some things for me, because I was a bit challenged by an 8th grader, by the way, and I just wanted to hear what your input is.
All right, Jim.
Rochelle, thank you so much for working with 8th graders. It's
Yes.
I love that age, and yet you got to be a little crazy. You don't sound as crazy as some. My daughter works with 8th graders, and she comes home every day, not to our house, but she'll tell us some of her stories. So way to go with that. Well, I think it's a great insight. And actually, Jesus never claimed to be a prophet. The Bible talks about like a prophet isn't welcome in their own home. You might be thinking about that reference. And again, we're not this isn't the Bible answer man and woman show. But what I do want to say is that Jesus claimed to be the Son of God. So the difference in our faith is that Jesus said, I and the Father are one. And so he claimed to be the Son of God. So he's either crazy or he's the Son of God, because he doesn't really give us he's just another prophet. The Muslims have pulled that in because they call Muhammad the prophet, and so they would call Jesus a prophet. But actually in the scripture, Jesus claims to be the Son of God. So we've got to decide, and this is kind of the what C.S. Lewis and others after him have talked so much about. Josh McDowell actually did a great job with it, kind of a more, Josh is now in his 80s, but with some of his work, Evidence That Demands a Verdict. But the point being is that we can point out to our brothers and sisters without it's not offensive. We just say, here's what Jesus said about himself.
Yeah.
Here's what his claim is, and then we either believe that or we don't. But again, it was always when I first became a Christian, I read C.S. Lewis, and basically he was either a liar, a lunatic, or the Lord, and that threw me, because I went, wait, is it possible that I don't want to call Jesus a liar and I don't want to call him a lunatic, so the more I investigated him, the more I realized that he, for me, is the Lord. He is the part of the Trinity. He is the Son of God. So again, we I think can be strong with that, but not in an argumentative way, just simply saying, I use the Lord. I was a youth pastor, so I use the Lord, liar, or lunatic thing all the time. And that would make sense to 8th graders. They'd go, oh my goodness. And so that's my answer, simple answer, I realize. And again, I'm not claiming to be the Bible answer person. There's a lot better people than me on that. But I do believe that we as Christians don't have to call Jesus a prophet because somebody else in another religion calls him a prophet.
Yeah, and I don't think we have to battle that point with them either.
Yeah.
And so when I heard Jim say that, right, a prophet is
not welcome
in his own home, I'm thinking of a prophet as a bringer of the word. Mm-hmm. And so we know who Jesus is to us.
Right.
I think the challenge for me as a teacher would have been to navigate the conversation in a way that respected both kids' belief and to teach the Christian kid that God doesn't need him to call other people names because they believe differently than he does. Scripture says for us to love our neighbor, love our neighbor and love our enemies. And so I think we might think of a person who thinks differently about religion as an enemy. And so I would focus on that when that comes up, because their belief is theirs because of what they've lived, learned, and experienced. And ours is ours. And yes, sometimes we get to have an opportunity to minister or witness to people of different faiths, and that makes a difference. But I think when we encounter someone that has a different faith than ours, there is an alarm that goes off as though we're in danger, and we're not. Jesus is Jesus.
Yeah.
And so somebody else's beliefs don't threaten me.
Right.
And when I come in contact with someone who is threatened, then we have to have a conversation about what are your fears here and where is your assurance in your relationship with God? Because when you have assurance, then someone else's belief system doesn't necessarily trigger you into defense and fear for yourself.
Right. I was talking to some students.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to some students last week. And I said, it's not our job to tell them how right we are and how wrong they are. It's our job to be a light, that what they see in our life, they want because they see it in our life. And so I don't think we have to always say, well, you're wrong and get into big arguments. That's not the way.
And what I usually do is get curious. And so I begin to ask questions and have a conversation and learn more about this person's experience. Yeah. And then we have proximity. If we're these two 8th graders and we're having a conversation in which we're trying to understand each other, but the adults in their worlds are probably not showing them how to do that, right? Because we battle against each other rather than just be curious and build relationship. And then that's when you get to see the light in my life, because we're now in relationship rather than me calling you a name and now you think awful about Jesus.
Yeah. When you look at the life and ministry of Jesus, he didn't agree with the people who were living a life of prostitution or back in that day tax collecting. But he still showed love to them. He led with love. The only time you see him get angry when a child somebody has taken a child away from God. But you also see him get angry when the money changers in the temple. So that's not really somebody of another religion or whatever. So, I think we need to be secure in our faith enough to be able to have that conversation, but help, we can have a good conversation with the Muslim kid to say, here's what I believe. You're not putting him down.
Right.
You're just simply saying, here's now what I believe about my faith. This is, and when we give a testimony of our own faith, that is more powerful than kind of doing what the other 8th grade kid, and these are 8th graders. They say they don't have a filter. Give me a break. Rochelle knows that. She works with them. But, this kid, yelling at him, well, that's not going to help at all. That's wrong. Yeah. But and I appreciate that Rochelle kind of can say, no, that's not how we do this. Yay.
Exactly.
I think we'll send you a copy of How We Love Our Kids. Now, we know these aren't your kids you're dealing with, but might be a good resource for you to have on hand as you continue to teach these 8th graders. And like Jim said, God bless you for doing that. And each child has their own personality,
Sure.
their own attachment style, and I think this book would be good for you.
And as a teacher, she's with them more than those of us who are in youth ministry are. So she's influencing and impacting. As a sub, she's coming in and showing them love, and that's a great thing. So
Yeah.
I just also want to give a shout out to teachers, substitute teachers, anybody who's in that field, because they're doing a great job, and they don't get a lot of credit
Yeah.
sometimes.
All right, Rochelle, stay on the phone and we'll send you a copy of that book. And now let's go to Jennifer, who is in Canada, listening on Sirius XM channel 131 as well. Hello, Jennifer. Welcome to New Life Live.
Hello. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course. How can we help you today?
So I'm a little nervous because I want to use the correct words.
I never use the correct words. They've gotten used to me, so don't worry about it. Just
Okay.
tell us what's on your mind.
So, what's on my mind is my very good friend whose adult daughter, who's married. They don't have kids yet, but she told her family before she got married that she was bisexual, and fast forward now, they've been married, 7 years, and now she says she is trans and she wants to have top surgery. And my question, I guess, is about in supporting my good friend whose adult daughter has announced that to her. My good friend and I are both Christian. This is not something we believe in, but how do I support my friend who is absolutely devastated and heartbroken?
Yeah.
I really worry about this young lady who has decided she wants to have top surgery.
Yeah.
How long have you known this friend?
Oh, almost 20 years.
Okay, so you've known the daughter since she was little, too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the question is, how do you support your friend who is going through this? And I think you probably already are doing it. You listen. You're available. You pray with her. You cry with her. You love her. You listen. You hear her out. You sit and hold non-judgmental space with her, because as we talked about not too long ago, people will decide for themselves what is right for them. We look from the outside and we have a story. Mom had a story that she believed for her daughter, and now the daughter is shattering that. But the daughter is saying, I can't live in the story you had for me anymore. And that's something that mom is grieving. And so this would be as though there were a death in the family or a loss of a job or a foreclosure on a home. This is a loss. And so I would sit with her in grief.
Jim?
Yeah, I think that's so good. Jennifer, you've got to be part of her circle of support, and you might be able to help her with more of a circle of support. So she's going to grieve this. Her daughter is an adult. Some of us who might believe that the daughter is forfeiting her spiritual purpose. And in that case, the word grief and loss, anytime there's change, there's some grief and some loss. But your question is not about the theology, if you would, of sexuality or those things. I mean, your question is more about your good friend. And when Jacqui said you're doing it, I wrote that down because I feel like you probably are doing it. You can't be the only one. And you also have to know that we come along our friends when their adult children make poor choices, and we can't do much about changing those choices. But what we can do is we can care and love for the person who's grieving. That's what we do. I mean, that's how we do it. Are there resources out there for this person if the person was reaching out? Yeah, there are resources. Are there stories, kind of strong stories about people who are, even as young adults, doing the top surgery that you talked about and some hormonal change? In Great Britain, where I got my PhD, I studied early on that they were very pro this. Now they're not pro. And I'm not talking about a Christian input. They're just talking about the amount who are struggling. So if she's willing to stay in the story, and she's only going to be willing to do that if she's around people who are loving and caring for her like you are. Life changes, and you just you never know. But that's it. You stay in the story in the midst of this, and keep praying. But your job is to come alongside her and help be one of the people in the circle of support.
How does the girl's husband feel?
I'm not 100%. He supports his wife. He just supports her, but that's a very in-depth conversation that we'll never know about.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, the daughter has never been this way. It's only the mom thinks under influence from someone else who's doing that.
Could be. There's a lot of influence on social media and everywhere else. We've got to go to break. We'll come back to you, Jennifer, when we return here on New Life Live. Thank you so much for calling in today from Canada. We'll be right back.
I went to Every Man's Battle in 2012. My sexual integrity was not what it should have been. I sought out affairs, whether physical or emotional. Until I came to Every Man's Battle, I didn't understand that would never fill that void.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
The shame and guilt was overwhelming.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
You will discover what the true root of your pain is, and you will discover how to overcome.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Washington, D.C., December 5th through the 7th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
Every Man's Battle saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do, because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
All right, Jennifer, thanks for calling in from Canada. We're going to send you a copy of a tip sheet that we have available for anyone who calls in to New Life. It's called 10 Tips for Healthy Grieving. We can email that to you, so get in touch with us if you would like a copy of that tip sheet. Again, it's called 10 Tips for Healthy Grieving. We're going to send that to you, Jennifer, so that you can share it with your friend. And we're so grateful to hear stories like Jennifer just shared of these friendships that, you know, no matter what they're going through, they can always just, you know, call each other on the phone and discuss the deep things of life. And that's always such a reassuring thing.
And actually, kudos to Jennifer's friend, because a lot of people feel so much shame when their adult children make some, you know, decisions that go against your values.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying to people right now who are parents of adult children who are making, you know, violating values or straying from faith, they've got to have people that they can talk to. They need Jennifers.
Yeah.
And so find your Jennifer. If you're struggling with something, it's not shameful. It's not your fault. You didn't cause, you know, some of this stuff. And a lot of parents say, well, if we only would have prayed more with our kids, or if we would have sent them to the mission trip instead of going on vacation or something. That's not the case. So I think it's really important for any of our listeners who are not Jennifer but are in Jennifer's friend's place on a myriad of issues, that they have to make sure that they reach out and seek help and find those friendships. And yeah, we need counseling. The Bible is very clear on that. Where there's no counsel, the people fall. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. But we also need friends like Jennifer, who, when you said this, Jacqui, hold them, pray with them, love on them, just let them be who they are and still love them. That's how we are the hands and the mouthpiece of God sometimes.
Yeah, and the thing about, I wonder if the reason people don't reach out to friends is because they can't trust their friends. Like in Jennifer's case, they've known each other for 20 years, so Jennifer's friend probably feels that Jennifer is a safe person. And not everybody, you might have friends, but you may not have those safe friendships, and that makes it... Go ahead.
It makes a huge difference.
Well, almost 50% of men over 50, so if you're talking about an adult child, say that they don't have one best friend. They have acquaintances and whatever, but sometimes if you don't have I have a best friend. With that best friend, I can share anything. And I know I'm still going to be loved, and I might get slapped around for being a ding-dong sometimes, but I'm loved by him. But in the case of so many, even men, they're struggling with this, and they're all alone. And again, women, same way, because they feel shame. So the church needs to be a place where we can, share this. And the church has not been as safe. I mean, some churches are, but the church, a lot of people would say, well, my church is not the place I'm going to go to. The church should be the place we're going to.
What do you guys think of the phrase, and we throw it around so often, sometimes we hear it when... a loved one passes away and somebody tells us, hey, call me if you need anything. And we say it, and I think we kind of mean it, but then if that person, I don't know if anybody's ever called me if they've needed anything after I've told them, call me if, because they're probably thinking, he probably doesn't mean it. Right now I need something that he probably can't even provide. So should we even say that phrase? Is there a better phrase that we can use? Or should we just stick to what we're saying and actually be there for the person no matter what they need? They might just need a hug. They might need you to pick up food for them. Who knows? But
it's funny you say that. I was writing that phrase in a text the other day. And as I was writing it, I was like, ugh.
Maybe not.
But I wrote it. But what I told myself is, I'll check with her in a few days and see what she needs, right? So the message was to say, I'm here for you if you need me. Call me if you need anything, and hopefully they will. I've done that. I have had, my dad died earlier this year, and I had friends message me and say, call me if you need anything. And there were a couple of them that I took them up on it. And I'm the emotional avoider in recovery. I don't really like to ask for help. But that week, and I had a great bit of time to prepare for my dad's passing. And so I was already prepared to take all the help that was offered and to ask for any and everything that I needed. And so I was able to, but I had planned for it. I knew that people would say, anything you need. My daughter said, should I call everybody for you? Yeah.
Sure.
Go ahead. And so as to what you're saying, a lot of times people don't trust other people with their grief or whatever their issue is. A choice that somebody has made, their spouse, their children, the shame around that, and unfortunately the condemnation that they sometimes will get from other Christians prevents them from having those close friendships and having a safe person. That's why therapy is so helpful. It's neutral, and having a good Christian counselor could even help you learn how to make the best friends. We're focusing in 2026 a lot more on social engagement, because adults, and especially older adults, have a very difficult time making friends. And it's even worse since the pandemic. And so we're trying to find ways to bring people together just to hang out and have fun. And that in and of itself, I believe, is therapeutic.
Sometimes I have to be careful if I say, call me if you need me, because what I'm doing is I'm not then going to be proactive about that call. Somebody died in the last couple of months with us, and I said, do you mind if I call you next week and just check in? And she said, I would love that. It was her husband had passed, and so I made sure I did it, because if you don't. But I think we have to be careful with some of the wording. Is that just more a cop-out? That's not a cop-out when you do what you did, Jacqui. And I've said that. If you need, here's my number. Call me. No promises.
And you guys know our number. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We are here for you. We will help you with whatever it is you're going through. We'll point you in the right direction, help you find a counselor near you who can help you with whatever struggles and situations you're going through. So many hurting people out there, and we want to help as many as we can here at New Life Live.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And let's go right back to the phones and talk to Carol, who is in Philadelphia, listening on WBYN. Welcome, Carol, to New Life Live. How can we help you today?
Yes, I was just concerned about dealing with grief with regards to estrangement from my son and his family. I wasn't able to see my husband and I weren't able to see our grandchildren since they were like 12. And it's been, since around 2011 that this has been going on. And
wow.
There's been a lot that I've been trying to deal with since my husband passed away. And it's so difficult because I know what the goals are, but actually accomplishing each one of those kinds of goals, it's just hard for me. And the worst part is trying to get rid of, or letting go of the guilt and the shame, and the urge to reliving the past is an extremely difficult thing for me, because there are just things that trigger the past because of what you see in the present.
Mm-hmm. So you haven't seen them in almost 15 years. They're now in their, mid to late 20s, maybe?
Yeah, okay. I've seen them, occasionally. But until 2015, it was really difficult until my husband finally got sick. And the next year he passed away. So, they were certainly around. The kids were around, and my son was around for the 2 weeks leading up to my husband's death. But even at his death, it was difficult. But
yeah,
my son still doesn't answer the phone when I call him. I have since communicated with his wife, with my daughter-in-law, and it's been very pleasant. And the kids do talk to me now. I mean, they're not kids. The adult children do talk to me now. But it's just reliving the past. I just can't seem to get beyond that, and I get so emotional when I see other families, enjoying their grandchildren, and I have friends that have grandchildren, and it's just...
So you're grieving those lost years?
I'm sorry?
You're grieving those lost years?
Yes, definitely.
Have you gone to therapy?
Oh, yeah, I've been in therapy since soon after it happened, because I just couldn't handle it. It was, well, my husband and I were just devastated. I mean, there were so many tears I can't even count.
Now,
but the things that comforted me was the Christian music that I always listen to, and I do attend a Bible church, so I have resources that I can
You have
receive.
You have a support system. Carol, can you tell us what caused the estrangement?
There were circumstances, particularly with a family event that happened when the kids were young, that apparently there were things that were said by either me or my husband that were taken the wrong way, and then something happened with the kid. It was just a sad situation, and we just didn't know what to do after we knew that there was something wrong. And the more that we tried to pursue it in different ways, it just got worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering because I was trying to figure out what part has you stuck, because the relationship with your grandchildren has been reconciled, but you're still stuck in that experience. And I would recommend you maybe do some trauma therapy. Find a good EMDR therapist. Maybe we can help you with that. Find one in your area. Maybe get in a life recovery group and process the trauma of that estrangement and whatever the things were that went on that caused your son to cut you all off.
Yeah.
That needs to be dealt with and addressed. And you said you know the plans, you know the goals, but you don't know how to get to them. And I would say start with whatever the first goal is, and write down 10 things you have to do to make that happen, and then start with the first one. I'm not sure what kind of goals you're talking about, but that's my kind of quick and dirty. I want to get something done. What's the first thing that needs to happen for that thing? Because I have ADHD, it's tough to prioritize, and so I had to give myself a way to bring something to the top and separate it out. And so maybe you need some support with that, but I think you need to do some trauma work.
Yeah, Jim?
Carol, I have a question for you. Do they live near you? Because your son was there when your husband was ill and the grandkids were around? Yeah.
To live not more than less than 20 miles from me.
Yeah. And the grandkids, are the grandkids open to they're older, so are they open to having conversations with you and going out for coffee?
They both went to colleges that were not local, and plus right now they're both located out of state.
Your okay.
So,
yeah. How would you say the relationship with the grandkids is now? If you said your son won't respond on the text, he might call back, but what about them? If you said, hey, I hope you're having a great day, I'm thinking about you, I want to send you a Starbucks card, would they respond to you? Yeah. Well, I've got a practical suggestion. I find that people who are in estrangement, I've spent a lot of time in this world this in the last few years, but I find if the grandkids are not and they're adults, that sometimes you can't do anything about the past. I mean, the past is past. I mean, you can in terms of working through your grief and whatnot, but I mean, the past is done. But you can restart and reboot this relationship and with your grandkids, because they're adults, and it doesn't sound like your daughter-in-law or son are against you spending time with them. What you may want to do, the one, and pick the easiest one first. But you may be able to say, hey, would you be open to once a month or every 2 weeks or whatever, having a short conversation with me, and then you just ask the questions. Don't bring up the past, don't bring up those issues, but develop the relationship with them.
And ask questions about them and what they're doing and what they're interested in.
Right.
A lot of times when we're with young people, we jump into lecturing and mentoring and teaching, which is necessary sometimes. But in this case, you're building the relationship. Be really curious about them.
Yeah. Can you do that in the sense of how the relationship goes right now?
Yeah, that's one of the things I have tried to do. I think it's nice so that you told me about saying, would you each be open? I mean, my grandson certainly would, but my granddaughter is Well, yeah, I think she would be open to it if I expressed it that way.
Right. Now, I don't know about finances, but is there something where Grandma could, send that Starbucks card or an Amazon card? It doesn't have to be a lot of money, but I'm just saying, I was thinking about you today. I know Starbucks is expensive, but here's a $10 gift card, whatever. At least you got one drink. Is that something you could do?
Oh, yeah.
Because, kids, young adults, and these are young adults, they don't get, cards and letters. I mean, they do everything through text. And
nobody gets cards and letters anymore.
Right. So if you had their address and you sent literally, I don't know why I'm off on the Starbucks card, but I found that that's a really cool thing to do with Grandma. Grandma's thinking about you. Don't buy them, underwear and socks. Send them something fun.
And even if you didn't send the Starbucks cards, sending the cards, it really does matter. Recently, we had a memorial for my father's birthday, and my niece stood up to speak, and what she spoke on was that even though she grew up in Indiana and my parents were out here in California, every holiday, every birthday, and even the little ones like St. Patrick's Day and things like that, they always sent cards. My dad's huge on that, and he saved every card that we sent him. And so she spoke about how much she always knew her grandparents were thinking of her, and he always wrote something special, and that's what she's holding on to now that he's gone.
Yeah. I have a cool story. I was interviewing somebody on my podcast on long-distance grandparenting, and the guy who I was interviewing, his wife every Friday has a conversation with the granddaughter, and it was an estranged relationship, not the granddaughter, but it was the mom. The mom's a single mom, and there's no dad in the picture. And after 18, there was this give and take, and now the granddaughter said, "I'd like to come and spend some time with you." And I love our Fridays, and it's the same thing. There's no preaching or lecturing in this one. There's just chit-chatting. Mm-hmm. But you may be able to recreate and reconnect and reboot, if you would, a good phrase, reboot the relationship. And I think that'll help you with your grief, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, for sure. Thanks for calling in today, Carol. We're going to send you a copy of Dr. Jim Burns' book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children, which is so much better than the other book called Doing Strife with Your Adult Children. We are not about that. We are about doing life with your adult children, your adult grandchildren, and I think there's a chapter in here on how to send them gift cards and all that other stuff. How not to send them socks and underwear for Christmas, but send them gift cards, the things they really like, and get into conversation with them. Just ask how their day is, how their life is going. Great stuff today here on New Life Live. Carol, stand by. Thanks for calling in today, and we've got more calls coming up, so don't go anywhere. This is New Life Live.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. Even though we've read books or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to Intimacy and Marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is February 13th to the 15th in Orange County, California. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the code NLL for a discount. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and
it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
All right, let's take another call. Here is Gail in Detroit, Michigan, who is listening to us on newlife.com. Hi there, Gail. Thanks for calling in today.
Hi there.
Hi.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, good. Well, I have something terrible to me has happened. I was listening to the last lady, and I thought, gosh, I hope I don't have to deal with that for so long. My daughter is not talking to us. She wrote me this text message saying that there'd be no communication with the grandkids, and they're 2 teenagers, boys, young teenagers, and she didn't want us to spend any time alone with them. Can't think of what all she said, but it was very hurtful, and I was just like out of the blue.
Did she give you a reason why, or do you have an idea why?
Well, she said that she was protecting her kids, and then she won't tell us about it. She says, when I feel healed, I will talk to you about everything. Oh, I know. She did say, we were gone for over a year because we were taking care of my husband's aunt and uncle down south. And we had just kind of discovered them. We were trying to call them. They're 91, 93, and we were told someone was taking care of them. But when we got there, they were in horrible health. She weighed 73 pounds. And so we started taking them to the doctor, and come to find out George had cancer. And it was very intense for like months. So there was no family there, nobody. They'd never had any kids. The relatives are in Tennessee. So we just stayed and took care of them. Yeah. And we were supposed to be able to put them into a nursing home, but...
So because you did all that, your daughter doesn't want communication with you?
Yeah, she was mad that she just feels like we just dumped the boys. And we flew back. I flew back 2 or 3 times, and Jim could only fly back once because George was so hard for me to take care of him, because you'd have to lift him up and put him into a wheelchair.
Yeah, caregiving is so hard. Hey, Gail, did you guys travel for work or anything? When your daughter was growing up, your going away made her feel abandoned in some way.
Right.
Made her feel like her kids had been abandoned. And so it may be that she doesn't want them to go through that again. So she's separating them out so they won't have the back and forth. And I wonder if maybe there was something in her childhood where she felt like you guys weren't as available for her as she needed, and she sees that pattern repeating, and so she's calling quits on it. If that is the case, I think respecting her boundary. Okay, I think respecting her boundary, and also if she has not said you can't reach out to her, just reaching out and saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, I love you, and so that she knows you're still there. If she has said, okay, I would continue to do that, and trust and believe that because you're respecting her boundary, when she is ready to come and talk about everything, she will, and hopefully it won't be 2 years, as you said.
Yeah.
Right.
Jim?
I've been reading a lot on estrangement. I'm writing a book with kind of your story on it right now. And so, I'm hearing what the experts are saying, and the experts say exactly what Jacqui said. The experts say, I love you so much, and I can hardly wait for that time for us to continue to have conversation, and I do want to hear, but not push it at all, and wait for her to come to you. There are times when you can ask a question, and again, you don't want to be that person who, if they if saying no, we're cut off, then you're cut off. But to say, would you mind if I sent Christmas presents to the grandkids? Would you mind? And if they say no, well then don't do it. But I wrote the word safety just when you first started, and for some reason she doesn't feel like the relationship's safe. That's her perception, not yours, obviously. So by you really obeying kind of what her request is, believe it or not, you're making movement toward the relationship healing, and it really can be healed. I see all kinds of people who go through estrangement. 27% of Americans have somebody in their family that they're estranged from. 27%, more than 1 out of 4. But the point I'm saying is that I would listen to whatever she wants. But again, sometimes what they'll say is, I don't want to talk to you, and then you write back and you say, hey, would you mind if I sent Christmas presents? I don't expect thank yous, but I'd like to do that just to let them know I'm thinking of them. I love you so much, but I will obey what you want me to do. It gets that far, and they go, yeah, well, you can send Christmas presents. Honestly, there's a time where I've heard that all the time, that people have actually, kind of got back that way. And then, or even say, would you mind if I circled back in a year if I don't hear from you, just to see how you're doing, because again, I love you so much. Again, you're not going tit for tat. You're not giving them your input. You're just simply asking that question. And sometimes that's helpful. So I think on the practical side, you don't want to give this up, and pray every day for this relationship. And you watch, even when we don't feel like God is working, and He wants this relationship healed too. And He will answer your prayer, I believe, on this one.
Yeah. And my last thought, probably not, but the last thing I'm going to say is, when she does come, be a good listener.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actively listen, mirror back what she's saying, validate her experience, empathize with where she's coming from. I think if we could send you How We Love, that the comfort circle would be a great way to have a hard conversation. You asking her the question, what are the feelings? What's the emotions behind that? Did you experience these emotions with me as a child? And if so, can you tell me a story about that? What did it make you think about me? Right? And that way she is maybe hearing you for the first time, lean into her experience. Because a lot of times we as parents will defend ourselves. And so, Gail, I hope that's helpful, and we will be praying for you and your daughter and your grandchildren.
And defensiveness. We want to go to defensiveness. I get it.
Because you don't feel the same way.
No. However, it's better if we can just listen. Now, we need to get defensive with a counselor, our pastor, friends, whatever. Do that, because again, you got to be able to have an outlet.
Yeah.
But not in this case. I think you're 100% right. The people who are the experts in the world, Tina Gilbertson, reconnecting with your estranged adult child, Josh Coleman, these people, they all say that it's not time. There's a time to have those conversations, but it's not at the beginning. Yeah.
Gail, we're going to send you a copy of How We Love from the newlife.com store. Thank you so much for calling in today. And if you guys can be praying for Gail and also Carol, our previous caller, and we also heard from Rochelle and Jennifer today. So keep everyone in your prayers today. Thank you so much for adding them to your prayer journal. And when you support New Life, you're helping people find real help and biblical truth for everyday struggles. One New Life listener told us why she gives. You've been my counselors for years, helping me process many situations I have faced. I hear callers talk about problems that I'm also facing and learn how to deal with things in a better way. Right now, we're in the middle of a matching gift challenge, so every dollar you give gets doubled up to $475,000. Can you give $75? That becomes $150. $300 becomes $600. $500 becomes $1,000. So on, so forth, up to $475,000. Maybe your gift can be less than those amounts. Well, that's okay, because it gets doubled. So it's not giving twice as much. Give online at newlife.com/match. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or text the word match to 28950. And we'll be back with you tomorrow here on New Life Live. God bless you guys. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching as well.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.